Let's start with an easy one. What's good about playing in your home state? What makes it fun? What makes it rewarding?
I'll take it. I think more than anything is growing up here and for me going to Twins games and seeing the players on the field and being a kid, seeing those guys out there thinking how cool is it to be on that field, how fun to play in front of fans, and then to be on the field and think, you look up in the stands and think I was one of those kids, and just how special that is, and especially just the Minnesota thing of the one of us of feeling like if I can do it, anyone there can do it, and knowing how proud I was to see Kent Herbeck on the field, and knowing that there's some kid that thinks, man, I want to be him someday is a pretty special feeling.
We've all been in their position, kids in Minnesota, we've all been there, and I think it's kind of cool to have that relatability. If I was somewhere else, it'd be a lot less recognizable, If I was in Denver, people wouldn't know who Adam Thielen was. But since I'm in a home state, and I think people here are pretty proud of their own. They know who these guys are, and they know because they grew up here.
I think the fans here they tend to like to gravitate towards one of them, someone that grew up here. And in New Jersey it was just a little different. But for example, a story. For example, in last week or a couple weeks ago, I was at the grocery store and it had just come out that I had a back injury and whatnot. And I was going through the checkout and had a couple bags of groceries, and some guy says to me, he goes, "Hey, hopefully you get better. Playoffs were just starting." He's like, "Hopefully you get better." And then so I grab my groceries and he stands up and genuinely says, he's like, "Hey, I know you got a back injury. You want me to carry the groceries to the car for you?" And I'm like, I appreciate the offer, but I'll be okay. But I think that only happens to the nice people here in Minnesota, and probably because I'm from here too.
I think that's something cool for us, having grown up watching all these teams from Minnesota to now be a part of it.
Describe the feeling of putting on the home jersey for the first time for your first game as a Minnesota pro athlete. I mean, what was that like?
For me, it was a very surreal feeling, just growing up, being a Timberwolves fan, just remembering that was, my biggest goal and dream in life was to one day be an NBA player. And so the first game, it didn't feel real at all. Just kind of looking down and holding the jersey in your hands and seeing your last name across the back. It was definitely a moment that I won't forget.
Zach and Lindsay, you guys both started your careers and played a number of years elsewhere before coming back here. What would you say is different about it? I mean, what's different, when you're playing in New Jersey or Connecticut as opposed to playing for your hometown?
For me, I think the biggest difference is hockey is such a big part of the culture here in Minnesota. I've said it before, but I think, majority of the kids, they grow up playing hockey and watching hockey. I mean, that's all you see when you're driving around in the winter. You see outdoor rinks, you see ponds shoveled off, and I think it's just everyone plays when they grow up, and it just wasn't like that in New Jersey. I think there were so much different things going on, and so many different big sports, and you have more of that city feeling, where it wasn't in the people's blood like it is, as much as it is here. And for me, that's the biggest difference here, that people just grew up playing and loving the game.
What about for you, Lindsay?
Yeah, I think for me, so went to the U. It kind of gave me a chance in Connecticut. I mean, that's a huge women's basketball state. I mean, obviously they have UConn, tremendous program, so those fans also cheer for the Connecticut Sun and the WNBA. So, but for me, it kind of gave me a chance to, I guess, kind of like get away for a couple years and then come back at an even better time in my career where I had learned more. I was more of a vet. Then I was able to, the next year we drafted Maya, so just the success it came at the right time. I think that, I'm not saying it might not have happened when I was a rookie, if I would have gotten drafted here, but I think just timing-wise it worked out really well to go away for a couple years and come back and then have been here ever since. So I don't know, I've been lucky because out there they're great women's basketball fans as well, so we had a lot of support there, but of course there's nothing like your hometown, so it's meant a lot.
Adam, Tyus, Glen, you guys have only ever played for your hometown team. One, do you ever wonder what it would be like if you were playing elsewhere? And two, how do you think that dynamic has kind of shaped the way you view being a pro athlete?
I've never wanted to. I never had the desire to. You know, it was weird. With baseball, it's such a crapshoot. The draft, I mean, you play and there's 30 teams picking in these spots. And I remember, you know, growing up, I just never thought I was going to play for anyone else. It was just never occurred to me like I'm going to play for the Rockies. You know, it's just I was going to play for the Twins. And you know, it just so happened the year that I got drafted, the Twins had 3 picks, like in the range. It was like, well, you're not quite the best player in the country, and so you're kind of in this range. And the Twins had 3 of those picks, so it just kind of worked out for me. But I never really thought like of it working any other way. And then once I got the chance to play here, once I got the chance to play in the Dome, like I said, where I got to see my idols play, you know, I never wanted to go anywhere else. And I've made sure throughout my career to do things and handle things in a way that made me able to play here my whole career, which you know, at this point looks like it's going to happen. So, you know, it's a fortunate situation to be in. I never wanted to play anywhere else, and you know, I think I've been lucky enough so far to fulfill that dream.
What for you guys?
For me, with it, you know, me only having, you know, played in the league for 1 year, obviously I would not want to play anywhere else. But I have a similar story where I just about a month before the draft, I remember telling my older brother, I just have a feeling I'm going to end up in Minnesota. And at that time, they didn't have, we had obviously the #1 pick, but nothing later in the first round. So it was just really weird how it all turned out. But I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just kind of a gut feeling, and you know, doors opened up, and I'm just, you know, honored and blessed to be back home.
Yeah, I'd say along those same lines, you know, it's kind of crazy how it ended up that I ended up here. There's a lot of other teams and a lot of different circumstances that could have happened that I could have ended up a lot of different places, and a lot of people probably wouldn't know who I was, and maybe not got the same opportunities. You never know. So it's cool to be here. It was cool to play in the Dome the last year. That was always a goal of mine in, you know, elementary school, watching high school teams go and play in state tournaments there. I always wanted to play in the Metrodome. And I got to play in it my rookie season, and then they demolished it, and then hopefully I'll be able to play in the new stadium, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty special to be able to have those landmarks and have those abilities to do that.
Lindsay, you've got bragging rights in the room. You're the only one with a pro title, at least. What was that like to bring that back to Minnesota? I mean, 3 times now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, 2011, I feel like we didn't really know what we were doing. It was just like we kind of hit this momentum kind of after the All-Star break that we just, I don't know, we didn't really know any better. You know, we didn't know that year. It just kind of all came together. Like I said, that was Meyer's rookie year. It was my second year with Coach and with Simone. So, yeah, I don't know. It just, before you knew it, we were in the finals and we had this momentum, and it was cool. The parade and kind of the celebration we got to have after was, that first one is really special. So to get to do it a couple more times has been obviously a lot of fun. We have a great group, a lot of unselfish players. So being able to do it here has been really cool, and hopefully we'll get some more.
Tyus, you obviously won a national title away from home. You had you know, a whole state cheering for Duke, which I think is almost as impressive as winning the title itself. To do it in a faraway place, I mean, what was that like? Just kind of the dynamic of, you know, everybody back home's pulling for you, but you're doing it kind of far away.
It definitely helps, you know, having the fans back home, you know, supporting you and cheering for you, and kind of having your back, like you said. And it's just, you know, going away, it was the best opportunity for me. And luckily, was able to win the championship. That's the whole goal. And it was definitely weird for me, you know, just because in the championship game, being from Minnesota, playing against Wisconsin, you know, now, you know, all the fans back home have even more reason to cheer for Duke and cheer for you, and it's just kind of everything kind of went hand in hand, and to be able to win and know that, you know, so many fans back home, you know, I hear all the time, you know, we were pulling for you. We're not Duke fans, but, you know, you turned us into Duke fans for a year. Just different things like that makes it that much more special.